Yo, what's going on guys? In this video here, I'd like to go over each type of skip, especially the ones that don't require a rogue. Oftentimes I get asked on my stream, how do you do this skip? What if we don't have a rogue or shroud? I like to use this video as a way to cover many of the different skips that would greatly help pugs and less quote-unquote meta comps. As with all skips, this will require some of your own creativity, as I'll be covering how to use these tools for skips, but not where it can be applied. Use your mind soothing.
Yeah, we have to wait for this path.
Are we skipping all this?
Yeah. You can come this way.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab this hammer too, and the spear on the other side. The first skip I like to go over here is just a basic Shroud skip, except there's a bit of a twist to it. This mob in the center here actually sees stealth, the Raging Bloodhorn. So one way to deal with this is we go by and we actually use Distract here, which decreases its stealth detection, allowing us to actually just get by. Like, we're really close to this mob here, but it still doesn't see us. So that's one way to deal with stealth detection, assuming you have a rogue. Now, what if you guys don't have a rogue for Distract or Shroud? There's actually ways around it, and here's one clip I got from my boy Yoda here. He's gonna pull these mobs to the side and use his immunity turtle. Right here, kicks it in, pulls the Raging Bloodhorn. He actually almost dies doing this, but he could have done this a little better. Turtle's here and everyone else walks by. Now, if you're doing these kind of skips, I would highly recommend either you have someone with an immunity like Yoda on his hunter, or the tank, or just someone who can actually just run by really fast. But generally it's the tank or an immunity class. As you can see here, he actually dies doing this. His feign actually goes off a bit late and he gets hit by the bolts. And of course he gets rezzed up and we just proceed as normal. Now I'd like to go over some type of CC skips that you can do. A lot of times, especially now in Shadowlands, you don't really need Shroud as much. So having classes like Priest are actually extremely useful. You can mind soothe multiple of these mobs here and just walk by, similar to the way that we used Distract earlier. So we mind soothe this first mob and we can walk by, and then mind soothe two more mobs, which is actually incredibly powerful. And we can just get straight in here and grab the mushrooms. So another similar type of CC that you can use is either Imprison or Sap. These two types of CCs are unique in the sense that you can actually CC the mob without getting in combat, and then walking by as well without getting in combat. So in this group, we actually have both Sap and Imprison that we could use. We walk by, none of us gets in combat, and here as well we can also Sap and Imprison. Now this only works on humanoids, beasts, and demons as far as I know. So when you're encountering mobs like elemental mobs or just other types of mobs, you probably won't be able to do this. Mechanical is another one that's pretty prevalent. So you'll need a different type of CC, which I will be covering next. Now with this CC skip here, this is probably the most applicable for many groups. It'll be very rare that you'll have a group that won't have any type of CC. But here you can use either Trap from our Hunter, Poly from the Mage, or Hex from our Shaman. Now here we poly it, the mage gets in combat, and it's only one person that gets in combat with one mob. None of these other mobs that are changed are in combat yet. Now here we have everyone else walking by. The mage is still in combat for a second. And then he uses INVIS here, as you can see. He's using INVIS to drop combat. If you don't have INVIS, you can also use Feign Death from the Hunter. And if you don't have any of those, the best resort is just to have whoever's in combat to just die and res them up. That way you're only losing one person rather than the whole entire group. So it's not really a death skip, but it does require a single death. So he invises here and drops combat, and now everyone gets by without getting in combat. This will probably be the most used skip for many situations, simply because either you don't have a rogue or hunter, or I meant demon hunter, not hunter. Or you might not have something like Mind Soothe. Now we'll start covering a bit more unique skips that you can do, and this one is using either Slowfall or some way to just jump across. So we start off and we actually have our priest immediately just levitating down there. He gets there pretty safely. I stealth by. Then we have the rest of our teammates just gracefully falling. Let's see what happens. So we have our doe here, just flying down in the crab. And then the last one, which he actually, oh no, he does have Slowfall. With the life grip too. But yeah, this is one way you can get down with just using class abilities from like mages or priest. Here's a variation of the skip that we're about to do. So instead of levitating or slow falling, we're actually using the Warlock Gateway. He drops a gateway here and we can just take it and go across. This used to be a really big thing in Legion and BFA, so there's definitely a lot of situations where you can find yourself doing this. It just requires a bit of creativity. But if you have Warlock players out there, you should definitely figure out all the different types of gateway skips you can do. And of course, it doesn't always end up going the way you might want it to go.
Make sure you jump up.
Oh, no, I'm so low.
Oh no, that was our healer too. This is the most scuffed skip I've ever seen.
Grip on him, grip on him, grip. Oh.
Quick, summon me, dude.
No!
What? Where was
Good thing we got the release.
Literally trolling.
Can't you guys like fade across here? Now sometimes, if you're insane like me, you can just do these skips without any type of class ability.
Yeah, just leave this fun. It's okay.
Wait, no, I'm in combat, I can't. You know what, I got this. Oh, I'm actually a legend. Holy
I saw that.
dude, that was so sick. What the?
Yoda, can you try to
Look at this dude.
This would be my last resort type of skip. So if you don't have any CC skips, a Shroud, or just any way to pull mobs aside, one quick and dirty way of doing this is just do hard def run. A lot of times you might want to just def run as it is the best way to do it. In this group here, we have Battle Res and we have Ankh. So we're super safe. We have our healer die with the Ankh, but at the same time we Battle Res in case. And when everyone else just dies here. Whoever has Invis or Stealth, they can get by first. But in this group we don't have any of those at all. And then of course we just take the res and proceed as usual. Now for this last skip here, it's basically just using consumables like invisibility potions or a new engineering item actually that is on a 2-minute cooldown that allows you to invis. I have heard this item has somewhat of a failure rate, so do be careful about that, but highly recommend to check out engineering. It's super useful always. If you don't have those, you do have 2 items that can res. A Gnomish army knife that is not counted as a battle res, or just simply the Shadowlands battle res item. And you can have classes like your mage that can invis, or rogues, or even classes like hunters that can camo or feign death, and just have them go up ahead to use res on the healer. But using an invis potion and a DPS potion really isn't that big of a loss if you compare the two. They're both on a 5-minute cooldown now, unlike before, so highly recommended that groups just use invisibility potions if it's like the last resort and they can't get any of these other skips to work. To finish up, sometimes skips don't go as planned. You want to try skips that have the highest success rate, especially with pugs, and if not, a lot of times it may honestly just be faster to fight your way in a straight line, rather than trying to do skips. But as with all skips, be creative and think about where you can maximize time. With high level groups, you might see some crazy skips that would never cross our minds. We've spent countless hours in the past expansion figuring out how to do crazy skips that would require either bugging out mobs to evade or drop combat. This is all part of the fun in doing M+. Just like I've mentioned in my previous video, when doing these skips, try and always plan ahead in Mythic Dungeon tools. I've left routes in description down below that will utilize some of these skips if you want to see where they can be applied. They are optimized to be basic but effective for timing hierarchies even without a rogue. That is all for the video. Thank you all for watching. If you like these types of videos, leave a comment and like, and even subscribe if you want. Also, check out my Twitch channel where I'll sometimes go over routes and skips live.
Yeah, I just walked into a double volcanic.
Oh, I'm dead. Dude, that shit's not yet. Are you kidding me? Alright, go back.